Thank you so much for joining me today here at Kara's Love Techniques. I am Coach Kara, and today we're going to talk a little bit about how to protect your energy. Okay, so I felt the need to do this video considering what is going on in the world today. A lot of negativity, depression, job losses, and so on and so forth. So I just wanted to hone in on certain areas in our lives that are impacted on a daily basis with just having negative energy and how to protect it as best we can. Okay, so firstly, I want to touch on how to protect your energy while dating. So, the dating lifestyle, and I'm specifically talking about like dating apps and dating online. And the reason why that is because the energies that are out there, especially if you are an advocate for dating online or through these apps. All right, you can meet a lot of individuals, a lot of spirits, a lot of energy, yeah. So here's the thing with that. If you are a frequenter of any of these sort of platforms, at some point you're going to come across an energy that you don't know how to engage in. You can't handle it. And the reason why that is because, well, it's a negative energy, a negative force. And even while I was on hiatus, I did my own little experiment, just for kicks and giggles. It's been a little while since I've indulged in the dating apps, right? So I just wanted to see what it was like out there, just for men and women. So I went on one app, got all set up, and within a matter of seconds, I began to feel like I was fresh meat walking into the belly of the beast. Like they just came out. And then the looks, the photos were just so I could read and feel the energy. Now, mind you, if you don't already know, I am an emotional empath, meaning I'm sensitive, highly sensitive to negative energy, right? So it became so overwhelming for me after, like, I would say maybe all about 10 minutes because I really want to get a good feel of the energy that was coming from this site. And I did a broad, thing for men and women just to see what everyone looked like. Man, was that energy bad? I deleted that account. I said, you know what? I'll try it again. So I went to another one. And now this particular site, as of about what, maybe a week or two ago, they had a murder. I mean, someone went on a date from the site. There was a murder, and then weeks before, someone was like stalked, and it went bad. But yeah, I went on more of the same. So at this point, my daughter, she's sending me laughing emojis. Oh, mom, don't give up. Keep trying. Give up. So I deleted that account. Went to another one. This one was a little bit more reserved. I didn't feel a lot from it. It just gave me a lot of sadness. Like everyone was sad, and you can tell the people had been on there for quite some time. And so, just looking at the faces and the eyes of people, they're trying to smile, but you can see the hurt and pain, and it was just a lot. It was so overwhelming, so much so that I felt bad for anyone who isn't discerning and they're not keen on energy. And so, of course, I deleted that account, but it was just fascinating for me to have that experience, those experiences in such a short period of time, which is why we have to protect ourselves even when we don't have that sensitivity, that discernment. When you're out on a date, everything's going well, you don't sense any red flags from what you can see, although you probably have missed a couple. Again, not everyone has that discernment. You really want to tap into your intuition, right? So say for instance, everything's been going well, you haven't really picked up on anything, but towards the end of the date, he or she says, hey, I know a bar up the street. You want to go have a couple drinks? Now with that, you don't have to answer right away. You know that, right? You really want to discern and pick up on the vibe and the energy of where it's coming from. I'll give you an answer when I finish my water or my drink, or hell, maybe go to the restroom and think about it. Think about where it sounded like it was coming from. What can I get from that? Because you can't really trust people and their actions these days, okay? Especially when you met them on some app or some dating site, male or female, right? And listen to you, let your intuition tap in. Pick up on what energy is being manifested or brought out. And then you kind of like just listen to your gut, follow your gut from that point on. And even with bringing somebody back to your place, I know you may have a nice fancy lair and you want to show it off how well you live or whatever, but at the same time, what you don't know, if the person that you've been dealing with, you met them on some sort of website or wherever, just think how many people they've dealt with, how many other energies they have been around. So now you have this energy floating about in your place. You're waking up the next morning, you got demon juice all over your sheets, and then you're wondering how the hell it got there. But listen, you have to know that this person has been around. You're not the only person, and you may not be the last. So with that, since we don't know, you kind of want to just hold off for a long while before you really can just make a full assessment of this person and get, your final judgment that, hey, this is kind of a safe being that I can be around, and that I can allow into my space. We really have to be very careful about who we date, especially online, okay? That message was mainly for people who date online, because just based on the energy I got from it, it was not safe, people. I didn't like it. I felt like I was on D block. And then the ones who did seem like they may have been a suitable mate, but they're posing in front of a Lexus like it's their neighbor's car, and they've been on this website, this app for a minute. So I mean, okay, you get what I'm saying, where I'm going with that, right? Okay. Another way we need to protect our energy is with energy vampires. The people that come around when they're feeling melancholy because you have such a great aura and such a good vibe and energy about you. Kind of like myself, I used to always get that a lot before I knew I was an empath. Everyone want to hang out with me, not just for, an hour, like for hours, just draining me, and I didn't know why. And so you may get that and may not understand what just happened. When they're gone, it's like, whoa, I mean, granted, I enjoy your company or whatever, but still, like, what was that? Be very careful with that. Limit that. Put limits on that, time limits, okay? Regardless how much you care for them or how cool they are, you kind of have to do that for yourself. All right. So next I want to touch on friends, the company you keep, like people that you really are around, or even people who are brought into your circle. We try to become adjusted to new people who are welcomed in our circle because everyone else is cool with that individual or warm up to them. But listen, guys, I really want you to follow your instincts when meeting new people. So let me share one experience with you, that I had. So my best friend at the time, she had a homegirl or whatever, her coworker actually, she met while she was working, and they had been working for some time, and so she wanted to go out with us that night. I was like, okay, sure, cool, whatever, the more the merrier. We go out. I'm trying to pick up on her energy, but it was something there. I just couldn't place it. And I was like, oh, maybe because, I'm a little faded. It's just me. I'm overthinking things again. At this time, I didn't know my gift was trying to manifest itself. So the next week come, we're trying to go out again. Yes, I went out a lot. I did a lot of things. But yeah, and this particular night, I felt it more strongly. And all night, I just couldn't just get with her energy. And I didn't know why. The next day, I go to my bestie's house and I'm like, yo, I don't like her energy. Like, I'm cool with everybody. I don't judge or anything, but it's just something about her I can't place. I was like, and if you're going to be around her, I can't be around you. Now, mind you, we had been best friends for a long time, right? And yes, I was willing to jeopardize our friendship because of this matter. Why? Well, my well being matters more. Okay? Yeah, my well being matters more. And so when I left, I mean, I could see it in her face that she knew that would be the very last time that she saw me. I don't play, whatever. And so we went from talking and communicating every single day to 4 days, no communication. On the fifth day, my phone rings and I'm like, hey, what's up? Kara, oh my God, you was right. You're not going to believe this. Like, hey, say no more. I'll be there in like 7.5, right? Yeah, it sounded spicy. So I had to get that in person. And boy, oh, it was saucy. Yes, it was. But she saw then that, hey, like, how did you know? And I think from that point on that she knew to trust me in my judgment. Because I think I had done something similar before, but it wasn't as drastic as me just breaking off our friendship. But now she saw that after the experience she encountered, right? But, needless to say, I ended up, you know, letting her go too after some time because, I just came to realize that she was disloyal, not just only to me, but to boyfriends, to whomever as well. So I just kind of had to let that go. Now, granted, during this time, I was equally as gullible and lacked discernment because I was stubborn. I wanted to do what I wanted to do, and I ignored my intuition most of the time. But this was during the period when my gift was trying to manifest itself and it was becoming stronger, so much so to where I couldn't ignore it any longer. So, fast forward. Okay, so that was that about being able to trust your instincts when it comes to people. Never jeopardize your well-being for someone else. Because the way I see it, she didn't care about our friendship enough to stop being around the girl, even though she known her only maybe barely a year. That showed me something. So you learn from stuff like that. But the fast forward, right? So how I learned I was an empath. So I was working at this Fortune 500 company, and one day I'm just standing there having dialogue with one of the coworkers. Now, granted, I got along with everyone there. I loved everyone, except one person in particular. I just couldn't. Her spirit just did not set right with me. I just couldn't feel comfortable with her, no matter how much I tried. And so one day she walks up while we were conversing, and immediately the hairs on my body stood up. You know that feeling when you get when someone is standing behind you, or maybe, I don't know if you had this experience, like a ghost or something, or some sort of energy that makes you just freeze and it's like, what is that? It was that kind of moment. So much so that I went on the defense. So in my head, I'm screaming, get away from me, because I'm trying to protect my energy, right? In that moment, guys, as fast as she approached, she did an immediate about face and was gone. Now that is what got me. Like, what the hell are you? Did you just read my? Wait, whoa. Now, mind you, the coworker, she just standing there babbling, rambling on about nothing, oblivious, and I'm going through it. But you can't tell because I have a demeanor to where you really can't. Kind of like a poker face, you really can't tell what I'm going through, like outwardly. I'm like, wait, did she? Because it was just so weird. She was just standing and listening to the girl and just was like, and then as soon as I said that, gone. Because of that, it allowed me to go out to my car during my lunch. I didn't eat. I wanted to know, why do I feel negativity around certain people? And I'm just researching and researching the whole time. And then later on, I go home and I'm watching YouTube videos. And then I can't say that I was scared, but it was so revealing and so it resonated so well. So I was like, oh my gosh, I'm empathic. That's what it is. So I'm a little emotional, empathic, as well as intuitive. I've had other experiences as well that I don't really talk about. And I was like, oh my gosh, it just explained a lot. And for that day, I was so grateful that I had that experience, because had I not had that experience, who knows how long I would have gone on just not knowing, just following my intuition, just really not knowing. And I always like to be in the know. So it was revealing for me. And I was like, wow, but at the same time, as much as it is a blessing and it's kind of like a protector, this gift, it is equally a curse. Okay. And those of you who are empaths, you know what I mean. Like, yes, it can be quite overwhelming if you don't know how to handle that. So, having said all of that, to say this, as an empath who can sense evil and negativity, it is imperative to protect yourself. If you have to get your circle down to minimalism, by all means, do that. Because no one else cares about your energy. Real talk, no one cares about your energy. Therefore, you should. Okay? How do we protect ourselves? If you've been around some sort of negativity, you can feel it, or the person was whatever, the best thing that you can do is take time to yourself. Like, go 2 to 3 days without being around anyone. Focus on yourself, right? If it's really deep energy, pray, or whatever it is that you do spiritually. I seriously implore you to pray. Get that off you. You don't know, because things latch onto you and you don't know why. Like sexual energy, those sorts of things, and you don't know why you can't shake this person. Be very leery about who we exchange our energies with, people. Oh, yes. Limit your time around negative energy. That goes back to creating boundaries and not letting people overwhelm you with their sadness and their depression. Though we want to be as empathetic as we can, but there is only so much that you can bear. Like, if they're coming around all the time with the same energy, no, that's not good, my love. Create boundaries. Know how to say no. Can we hang out today? No, I'm not feeling it, love. No, I'm not. So just create a safe space for yourself always, especially nowadays. And I guarantee you will feel better. Be mindful of what it is that you intake, meaning what you're viewing, for how long you're viewing, because energy transfers, if you didn't know that. So it's easy to pick up on certain things. You know how you just watch something like on Netflix or whatever, and then you dream about it or something similar? That's what I'm saying. So be very mindful of what you're viewing and what you're listening, just your entire intake and overall environment in general. Okay? So I really wanted to share that message with you all. I hope you guys are doing well. I trust that you will trust your judgment. Begin to listen to that inner voice. Do not ignore any flags, because a flag, listen, I don't care if it's purple. Do not ignore it. Take heed. Just watch it and see what happens. If nothing happens, then keep watching. Okay? I thank you for joining me always. That is all for now, my loves. Until next time.